Welcome back to another episode of Norse Studies with Zakk. We're going over the culture of the Teutons. If you haven't watched any of my episodes, they're in 10-minute intervals. We're just reading this together. Feel free to start at any episode that you've missed. Go back through my page. You can catch up with us. It's pretty easy. We're just going to go through this book together, kind of discern what Wilhelm Grönbeck is trying to say about Norse culture. The Frisian peasant laws of the Middle Ages also found it necessary to lay down hard and fast rules for the obligations of kin towards kin, and decree that persons with the closer degrees of relationship, as father, son, brother, fathers or mother's brother, fathers or mother's sister, may not bring suit one against another before the court. They must not sue or swear against one another, but in cases where they cannot agree in a matter of property or the like, one of their nearest of kin shall be appointed judge. So, essentially what that's saying is the Frisians, like if my brother stole a horse, right, I wouldn't go take it to the courts and say, this guy stole my horse. I would take it to my father. If my father wasn't around, I'd take it to my mother. If she was around, we'd take it to our other brother. So on and so forth. The next of kin, basically, to make a decision over that rather than taking it to a court. Pretty interesting. It's like, it's almost like freedom of choice, you know what I mean? Instead of letting the government decide for you, you're kind of creating these groups for yourself to help you make those decisions and resolve disputes. Which, in my mind, it seems like that's how it kind of should be. The guild statutes are as near to the unwritten law of kinship as any lifeless, extraneous provision can be to the conscience that has life in itself. And they give us, indeed, the absolute character of Frith, its freedom from all reservation in brief. But they cannot give the very soul of it. For then, instead of insisting that no quarrel shall be suffered to arise between one brother and another, they would simply acknowledge that no such quarrel ever could be any possibility arise. In other words, instead of a prohibition, we should have the recognition of an impossibility. So that's interesting right there. Yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. The characters in the Icelandic sagas are in this position still, page 21. Though we may feel that the cohesion of the clan is on the point of weakening, they have still, more or less unimpaired, the involuntary respect for all such interests as may affect the clan as a whole, an extreme of caution and foresight in regard to all such enterprise as cannot with certainty be regarded as unaffecting the interest of all its members. So, what are they trying to say there? That's like mind-blowing that even happens. Essentially, how would you say this? Like, it's almost like acting against your kin was impossible. There was no way you could do it. It was unfathomable. Like, to do that, let's say, again, my brother stole my horse, right? And, or let's go even further. My brother cut my arm off, right? And I went to the lawgivers, and I said, "This guy cut my arm off. What the heck? What, you know? I want to be made whole again." First of all, I have a feeling from what we're reading, I'd be shunned because I just testified against my brother in my own self-interest rather than the community's. And he would be shunned as well. We'd probably be booted out of the community. because he took arms up against kin. Nobody would ever trust us again. So it's like, it's not that we're breaking, like the law is there, the rule is there, but it's almost as if that governing system didn't even recognize the quarrels. You were just out. You didn't have a community after that. That's pretty interesting stuff. So it's essentially, the law is there, people understand it, but it's never broken. Because if it is, nobody wins. The governing body of that community, if they favored me because my arm's cut off, they would suffer because they're participating in me breaking the bond between my brother by basically testifying against him, right? In my own self-interest. And if they favored him, they'd be breaking it again because he's essentially taken arms up against a kinsman. Therefore, he's dishonorable. And if they favor a dishonorable person, the community is dishonorable. So they just, it's like they just didn't even happen, we don't know who you are type of thing. I don't know what they would have done. Maybe they would have killed somebody. But it seems like it was so deep within these people that they didn't commit these types of things. And if those types of things were committed, everybody was trying to scramble to get themselves back to normalcy. And if that meant getting rid of certain people in one way or another, then maybe that's how you would do it. I'm sure he'll tell us more about it through some of the stories, but I think that's really interesting. Meanwhile, we're talking about, you know, there's family members that sue each other all the time, and they're always fighting. They always take things to court. So that's what he's talking about when they acknowledge, instead of insisting that this law doesn't exist, like you can't suffer from a brother or a kinsman, instead of insisting that that doesn't happen, they just try and fix it within their own group. And I thought that was pretty cool in and of itself, that the group was governing itself through Frith, our closest version of Frith. But yet it goes deeper than that. Like, these things don't happen. And if they do, they get rid of the person or the situation completely. That's the assumption, at least. I'm going to stop right there. If you guys want to get something else out of these videos, if you want them to be longer, if you want them to be shorter, please comment below. Rate, comment, subscribe. It helps me out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.